Let's do it. All right, welcome back. We've been having a great series here talking about premium branded apparel. I'm with none other than the founder, CEO of Apparel Redefined, John LaRoy. John, happy Friday. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Kurt. Happy Friday to you too. Yeah, we got some good momentum here. We got to keep beating ourselves, I guess, huh?
I'll tell you, we've been having some wonderful conversations, and just earlier, you'd be proud. I was geeking out earlier today. We were talking about with another client. We were talking about liquid death and some of these branded, conversations that you and I've had over the weeks. But today, this time of year, we're coming in. It's summertime. Weather's getting warm, and everybody's finally outside playing. For us, those of us that live up north, let's dive into some different industries and in coming up with some high level strategies for premium branded apparel for different friends and folks out there. First, I want to dive into, let's hit the construction industry, right?
Sure.
As we're driving down the street, everybody, our roads are, getting fixed and torn apart. Let's dive into construction and general contractors. What are some solutions from branded apparel, from the branded apparel perspective, from your, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, it's the last thing on everyone's mind, but it's actually in the construction side too, especially depending on what field. If you're in, paving, you're on streets and sand, and even heavy civil. It's about safety. Like OSHA comes in and they require high vis, so it's not only something that should be top of mind and not be a last minute decision. It's actually required now. You have different ANSI certifications with sleeve markings and tapings and body tapings, and we just try to make it as plug and play as possible. Like what do you need? What's your is there an ANSI certification? Is it purely high vis? What sizes do you need? And honestly, too, you really do see an inventory crunch on the high vis stuff right now because it's pretty stable across the United States in terms of inventory and supply. After fall, because the Midwest kind of and North essentially just kind of stops. But now you have the entire United States competing for some inventory here, so you do see a little bit of a crunch. So it is important to get that stuff, except especially in your extended sizes, out to your team. You do see there's been a lot more emphasis on vests, and especially in the trades that get really dirty. Uh, you can throw a vest over, somewhat protect the shirt, and you see um, hard hats, promotional item gloves. You see, even just regular baseball hats, but in safety colors. You could do decoration in safety colors. There's all different types of stuff out there. But a number one thing when you ask the guy wearing it, it's really important because you do see some dichotomy there where the older guys, the guys that have been doing it for 20 years, like, I don't want any of that moisture management stuff. It sticks to me. I want the old traditional cotton tee. And you talk to the younger guys, like, don't bring any of that cotton stuff around here. So it really comes down to, like, do they want the same thing for the crew? What is the GC up to? But really, at the end of the day, it really is on the bottom of the GC's list, which is totally understandable. They're up against deadlines. There's major things that need to get done, but they do need to have safety apparel and high vis options out there for their crew. The other thing to do is when you come to the end of a project, they have what's called this topping off party, and these topping off parties, there's a lot going on those days. You got investors, you got, you know, residents, you got, cities and villages coming in to celebrate, and you want it to be seamless. And sometimes those get forgotten, right? In terms of the apparel. And it could be 2 days before, 3 days before. Oh my God, I forgot these, got to have them. And we've been there and done that. And we, if we can do it, we're going to do it and make our partners and clients look good.
Well, that's great. And our friends out there listening, you have to go back to our last episode where we were talking about all about just in time. And so, things slip through the cracks. If you and I are hockey fans, if a puck gets past you by, you're like, oh no, I need something in a couple days. That's where
Mm-hmm.
that just in time comes in. But I love this. Week in, week out, you talk about that. What's the promise of your brand? We're
Yep.
talking about, from a construction standpoint, that safety. That's fantastic. So a lot covered there. Let's go here. Summertime, I know I see tons of nonprofit events, a lot of charity events. You think 5Ks, different fun summer events. What are some tips that you have for folks in the that need branded apparel that maybe aren't doing that on a regular basis? How can we help those nonprofits?
A lot of times it starts with the artwork in that space, right? You have, you could have like a new park dedication. You could have some type of event, around, summer holidays, or you see a lot of outdoor concerts and those types of events. And if you have multiple parties involved or even sponsors, like you see a lot of summer t-shirts with sponsorships on the back. So there's a lot of coordination. So communicating with whoever's involved, the shareholders that are involved in getting the t-shirt. And it's crazy to think, how many hands or companies or people might be involved, but typically, you see anywhere from 15 to 20 sponsors. That's 15 to 20 different logos because people don't just want the company name. People invest a lot of time in their brand. What is their brand? The logo. They want to, if they're supporting something, they want their brand conveyed the way it should be done, which is the logo. So getting access to those files that are print ready, or if they're not print ready, having our graphics team dive in and making those files print ready, and getting them on a template because whether they're giving them away, that is not as common as, hey, for 15 bucks, 10 bucks, whatever your proceeds go to some type of organization. Um, you want to present it, you want to show it, you want to market it. So getting that mock up out to the community, whether it be through community websites, like we have Patch up by us, and they blast that stuff out to the community. They'll put flyers in village halls and centers like that. So it's much more easier to move product and get excitement if you have a digital mock-up or physical mock-up created. And we want to support because the success of the event and the success of the apparel are very intermingled, and we want to have the best outcomes for our clients.
Yeah, you're making a fantastic point. Remember years ago helping out with a hospice bike race and coordinating those corporate sponsors. There's a lot of moving parts there. So you're
Yeah,
making an excellent point. So let's slide in there since we're talking, corporate events, those types of, a lot of summer activities going on there. From the corporate side, what are some tips, advice that you have for folks during the summer?
a lot of corporate outings. You have potential like theme park visits, you have retreats, you have wellness events. All things great to be outside, especially in the north. I mean, we celebrate our short 3.5 month window very well. We get a lot done in 3 months. And craft breweries. There's breweries and distilleries all up and down the Lake Michigan corridor here, and they're all fighting. They're all fighting for exposure. And you leave with a taste of their beer, but they really want you to leave wearing a t-shirt because that's going to get you and their brand more recognition. So again, it's really about at that point, if it's an internal event, again, spend the extra couple dollars on a premium t-shirt. You want your people to be proud and comfortable with what they're wearing, and then continue to wear it because it's advertising, free advertising for your company, and get it out there. And again, we talked about this, I think, in episode 1, the tribal aspect. All right, the Maslow's first need of feeling belonging. It's team sports season. It's baseball season. Put your shirt on, belong to a group, belong to a team, get that feeling of cohesiveness, and really go out and have a good time. And it's you're walking through and you see like a whole group of people. Maybe it's only 10, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100. You're immediately like, what are they doing? I want to be a part of that. Like why wasn't I invited type thing. So, it's again, the power of branded apparel is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's great. Creating that FOMO, right? And
Mhm.
being a guy, what do guys love? We love wearing that same you get a favorite t-shirt, you're going to wear it for 10, 20 years, right? And if as you're mentioning, that quality is just so important, so powerful. Let's go here. So another thing, end of school, tons of activities. We've got graduations, different sports activities coming to the end, coming in the summer. How about some tips there?
Yeah. I mean, graduation parties, everyone's kind of looking for like what's novel, what's unique. How do we one up the kids down the street or the party that we went to. And we see it a lot, like, hey, we want to do t-shirts for my son's or daughter's graduation party. um, some parents like to embarrass. They want to put a picture of them as a kid or something like that. So we have all those tools, all the technology to make that a reality. Because prior to print on demand and direct to garment, that was kind of a challenge. Or like, hey, we could do it, but it's only got to be a one color. Now you can have full color on there. Um, yeah, but again, it's a nice touch. It's something that, we go home with. I mean, selfishly, at my wedding, we got married in July. It was actually the hottest day of the summer. Um, and our party favor was t-shirts, and we printed, like you have the guest list. So everyone that attended our wedding went home with a t-shirt, and the guest list we printed on the back so like they could see, hey, I attended the wedding, and it was a really nice shirt, and we did it in a couple colors. And it's better than a piece of candy or some of the other trinkets you get at weddings. So yeah, weddings, events, you can't go wrong with a t-shirt. And backing up one step where you talked about before, corporate sales guys love the golf, right? And hey, there's a lot of good business done on a golf course. I got to keep telling my wife that. But um, you're going to be out there. At least if you're not in the office, you should be wearing something that's representative of your company. So corporate polos, golf polos, comfortable, functional, and in terms of representing your brand, you should be in one.
Yeah, that's great. And so, as you mentioned, for those up north, everybody's outdoor for the next 3.5 months.
Yeah,
So you have ball games, you have concerts, you have different events, again, fundraisers. All could be a softball tournament,
yeah.
races, as we've mentioned. Talk about some of the festivals, maybe concerts. What are some advantages there, or some tips that you want to share?
Yeah, before we just kind of glaze over that softball part, we are in the south side of Chicago. You got the 16 versus a 12-inch group. And every year you need a new jersey. And we love our softball teams, and everyone, again, it's a one up type thing. What did we do last year? We got to do something bigger, better, crazier. We do hats. We could do, some guys wear the pants in a 12-inch league. We got shorts, and these guys, I mean, before I got married, before I had kids, I was playing 5, 6 nights a week. That's down to one. But it's still fun. But yeah, there's a lot of guys out there in the competitive leagues and even, weekend tourneys, and they'll have 5, 6 teams they play for and all different uniforms. But getting back to what was the other segment we want to talk about?
For like outdoor
Oh
activities,
yeah,
festivals,
got it. Yeah.
concerts, could be nationality festivals. I mean,
Mhm.
there's so many different things that go on in summertime,
Yeah.
and again, a lot of these folks, it's new, they do it once a year, and maybe so and so, did it for years. Now they're handing it off to somebody new, so it's kind of it's not something that people do on a daily basis. They need to be, they need to be educated on like, hey, what are some best practices here for those festivals, right?
Yeah. I mean, farmers markets are huge up here too.
Yeah.
We have a ton of farmers markets. You have all these new companies, old companies, what have you. And when you go to a farmers market, there's a lot of people selling eggs. How do you stand out? How are your eggs better? But yeah, festivals, concerts, everyone, you know, when you think about a memory, right? Your most memorable moments, you can remember what you're wearing. You can remember probably who you're with. You can remember, usually not the date, but the time of year, the feeling, that type of stuff. But like one of the most powerful memories is like you can see yourself and your friends and your groups like in a photograph of your mind of what you're wearing, and again, you're at some type of festival, you're at some event. Uh, it's really powerful if that person is wearing, or that company or that group is wearing an event sponsored tee.
Yeah, you know what? You just gave me chills because we have a woman here where I live locally who unfortunately passed in the 9/11 tragedy. She was on one of the planes, and they do an annual race every year. I this was from like 2008. Okay, I still have that sweatshirt. It's in great condition. It was durable. My daughter now, it was stolen from me. Don't tell anybody, but my daughter
Yeah,
now wears it. It's not mine anymore. She wears it, but here it is. 16, 17 years later, 16 years later, and a great thing as you're mentioning, people wear those T-shirts with pride. They love,
sure.
when it's a quality, and they can say, "Hey, when did you go to that concert? Hey, you know what? Let me check the T-shirt. Hey, remember what a great time we had at that event." I think the word that you just, dropped the mic on is experience. It's
Hmm.
not just the t-shirt, it's that experience. Or you're out in public, like, oh, you were at that concert? I was at that concert. Oh, you're part of this. So I mean, there's so much the experience, the memory, the community that you're building. This is great. Let's slide into, you mentioned, boy, that's another thing you and I have in common. I was a 5, 6 night a week
Okay.
softball guy back in my younger days, but lots of sports teams. There's
Mhm.
soccer, all lacrosse, even some of the non-main sports, right? For sports teams, we're coming to the summer. We might even be thinking out ahead of, or for fall, right? We're coming to the end of the school year. What are some tips, advice that you have for schools? Either coming in the end of year, summer. Any advice there for sports?
Yeah, I would say organization is key,
Hmm.
and utilizing the tools that are out there, like the online stores,
Hmm.
to disseminate information, collect payment, potentially have a fundraiser. Um, Everyone's busy. Time is extremely precious and limited in the summer, and you might not see that person at school or at church. School's out, and but you still want them to get prepared for the end of summer bash, or again, south side of Chicago, we do a lot of walkathons at the Catholic schools to raise money, and those are always done August, September, just because you can count on the weather. As you move closer into September, October, you're starting to lose that diciness. So getting that organization, getting that participation, utilizing the tools that are out there that now everyone's familiar with. Um, the online store is a great tool for that. And even like right now, we're doing a golf outing next week for my alma mater, Marist High School, and the golf outing scene is huge in the summer. There's literally two or three every day for every. And how do you, again, the one up? How do you make your golf outing at 150 a golfer or higher better than the other golf outing? You get your decorated balls, your tees. Sometimes it's a polo, a hat, a golf towel, microfiber. Bag, golf bags, all different types of stuff that you can brand. Um, but what we're doing as a live event, we pre-made 50 custom hats for the event for the golf outing, and every golf cart will have a QR code for these hats. And we're trying to raise as much money as possible for the high school. So you got 200 guys out drinking, golfing, betting, having a good time, and I'm betting that we'll sell all the hats, within the first half hour, because we'll have a couple on display. And this is something that we could do at every event. And that point of sale and seeing the stuff there and almost like the competition of like, hey, you didn't buy one, you're a cheapskate, type thing. Like you're in that foursome and just being able to do things for the schools, for the organizations. That's fun, but it's not like, hey, here's $10 and you don't know where the hell it's going. You're getting something back. And again, a premium product that uh, you're gonna wear.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Again, so many wins right there. It's a great donation. Somebody gets a great takeaway, and now they're wearing it. And plus, you're a walking billboard,
Right.
right?
Right.
We haven't even hit on that. I think that will slide into the last topic, last industry that I wanted to touch on. Let's talk about hospitality and tourism.
Sure.
As you mentioned, we're coming into summertime, and just think, I mean, there's just a wealth. You mentioned farmers markets, things on the shore, all sorts of different tons of tourism opportunities. What are some tips that you have for maybe like the small mom and pop retailers that are
Hmm.
buying t-shirts, for their local business? Any advice there for the summer?
Location, location, location. Right. We talk about like there are so many brands that have popped up in the last 10 years, like hashtag lake life. Right. Again, we love our lakes here in the Midwest. Uh, Packing up the car Friday at 3 o'clock, driving a couple hours to go to your lake house. And for those two, like, to quote Jimmy Buffett, changes in latitude, changes of attitude. Like, you would have the worst freaking week in the world. You hit that car, you sit in traffic for 3 freaking hours for, an hour drive. You get to the lake, get your feet up, get the fire going, crack your beer, and it's a whole different mentality. And really only for about like 22 to 24 hours. Then you got to get in a car and go back to work. But it's amazing. And you have maybe 8 to 10 weekends to get that done. But that mentality of lake life and all the resorts and the little pop up shops and, how do you make that experience unique and memorable and merchandisable? Uh, there's a lot of options. You got your koozies, you got your hats, you got, even laser engraved like charcuterie board, something that like, you got the outline of the lake because all these little lakes are unique in their patterns and their looks. Um, and then everyone's got the kids out. You got your toddler tees. You can even customize stuff for the boat. There's limitless options to make your experience memorable and unique. I mean, some of the greatest memories growing up here as kids is like just getting to visit all the different lakes, all the different lake houses, and that's etched in your mind forever. And it's truly an amazing experience. And again, it's unique, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. But yeah, it's amazing that what the merchandise aspect can do for creating those memories.
Yeah. Drop the mic, man. Just that was just awesome. It's all about the memories, as a little kid, and now, as a father, now you get to replicate that and do it for the next generation. And just man, so much excitement that we just covered, and memories, safety. We've talked
Mhm.
about that walking billboard, your brand promise, having quality product out there. Last parting words of wisdom for our friends there today.
No, I'm just still like in my mind stuck on the lake life. But again, it's like, every one of these lakes, they have, either like an association or some fee,
Yep.
and, or I
Yep.
mean, some community. And again, what you're getting at, or what I'm getting at is just the sense of belonging and community that is conveyed. You have, Lake Sarah, you got Torch Lake, you got all these little lakes, and everyone's really proud of it, and they should be.
Yep.
And again, just being outside, summertime, family, friends,
Yep.
companies, groups, there's no better time.
Amen, man. So we will wrap up on that. So we're talking summertime at Apparel Redefined, and just what a wonderful time of year. John, thank you for your information, your wisdom, your brilliance, your energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. So big takeaway, get out there. My lake is like, right down the road.
Okay.
I'm gonna wrap up with you, and I'm gonna go hit the lake. So
Yeah.
join us again. So John, we're gonna start bringing on some guests on the show. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited about that next week.
Us too. Yeah. Yeah. Kurt, happy Friday. And yeah, I guess help us help you make those memories, and love to be a part of it. And Kurt, thanks again. And I look forward to next week.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.